Well, I've had a lot of great experience playing in just about every genre of ensemble you can have. And I must say that I think the brass quintet is the genre that has been the common thread through every place that I've lived. A brass quintet is derived of the two soprano voices are two trumpets. Sort of the alto voice is the French horn. The tenor voice would be the trombone. And then the bass voice, of course, can either be a bass trombonist or in most cases is a tuba. And that's where we are with the two trumpets, horn, trombone, and tuba. The type of music that Henry had me choose for this particular program, we like to, as an ensemble, as a brass quintet, which has only been in existence from the early 70s or so, because Canadian Brass started the ensemble. And so there have been a few works written specifically for brass quintets, which we have incorporated in this program, and they're the newer ones, one in '98 by Phil Snedeker, and then the person who really started the brass quintet, the first piece written for the actual instrumentation was Malcolm Arnold, and he himself was a trumpet player in England. And then it's most of the rest of it, any type of music is fair game. We want to play anything and everything we can, from the ancient materials to jazz to Gershwin to any kind of style of music we can find and adapt and transcribe. So as a program, we have set up a system where we are playing older music, but it is very active, and we actually want to spread ourselves around the stage quite a bit, do a lot of question and answering. So there's a lot of material in that regard. Some pieces are very quick. Others, we have one, we call it a Trumpet Battalion, where the trumpets get to interact with each other and kind of have a battle going across back and forth, answering each other. We're going to be playing some Gershwin, some jazz. A couple of the new pieces that are written for just brass quintet are very uniquely involve everybody in the quintet. It's very accessible writing that I think people will love to hear. And it's just a new way of arranging and creating new works in an ensemble that you don't usually get to hear. We're going to start off with a Giovanni Gabriele canzona piece for the brass quintet that was transcribed for the group. And I'd like to be able to set us all over the stage, and you're going to hear like music as surround sound. It should be really a nice effect for you. Then we go into a piece that's an Earl of Oxford's March. It's very British, it's very pompous, and it's a lot of fun to play that particular piece. So those are older pieces. We then will head into our first J.S. Bach piece, and this is a little religious oriented, I suppose, called My Spirit Be Joyful, arranged for brass quintet. It's pretty up-tempo, if you want to call it that. And then we close out not quite the first half, but we have a very short segment from a piece by Peter Schickli that is called Polka, from his Hornsmoke opera that was written for the Canadian Brass. And this is an opera that was originally performed by them, where they are in costume, and the members of the group are characters in the actual old melodrama opera from the Old West. And so this particular polka is from the Hornsmoke, where it occurs after one of the characters, also known as B-flat Bart, that's one of the trumpet players, by the way, who shows up in Spitvalve, which is the name of the town that this is from, and he's trying to steal away his newly married cornetta. So that is one of the other trumpet player characters. And then we end the first half with a piece by Phil Snedeker, who is a trumpet player as well from the DC area. He wrote a suite for brass quintet that has various different styles in each of the 4 different movements to it, and they're all very accessible and very likable. Then we take a brief intermission, and we again probably will throw the first trumpet player somewhere out to begin the second half. We'll have the first trumpet player out in the audience someplace. We don't know where he's going to be, but we'll have the little battle scene going on with the Samuel Scheidt piece to start the second half. Again, very lively between the two of us. From there, we like to segue right into George Gershwin's 3 Preludes, which actually is a piece for piano that has been rearranged and for brass quintet. And in it, there's some blues, there's some jazz elements, that kind of thing. And it's a great fun piece to play for sure. And then from that point we go, again, we just kind of going back and forth for variety. I think that's the ultimate enjoyment of these kinds of concerts, is the variety that you can get. We'll go again to J.S. Bach with his fugue in G minor, and again, arranged for brass quintet. And in it, you hear the usual fugue. Somebody starts, somebody answers, then it's passed along across the entire ensemble, and finally this great culmination towards the end of the piece. And it's actually scored, which is fun, for a different instrument, E-flat trumpet. Both the trumpet player, Stephen, and I will be playing our B-flats and our C trumpets, but in this particular arrangement of the Bach, they had scored it for E-flat, which is a fun element. And then we end the concert with the Malcolm Arnold Brass Quintet No. 1. That was the piece initially that started the whole sort of the brass quintet writing. British writer. Again, it's 3 movements. First movement is very lively. I was noticing that there are some elements of that piece that also are, you can hear a little bit of that maybe in the Phil Snedeker piece as well, just the style of writing perhaps. But the second movement showcases our trombonist, who is new to the orchestra. And the last piece, of course, is a very lively back and forth with a big flourish at the end. We like to perform all styles of music, and anything is fair game for us. I mean, there have been some things that I've played that I just was questioning the whole time, but I think music is music, and we like to have our color, the brass quintet color, to go with the music that is out there.